All right, welcome to episode 3 of Pair of Dice. Today we are joined by Liam, Nate, Owen, myself, and Wes. Welcome anybody who's new. Welcome to Drunkards and Dumbass. We just play D&D, and then in this case with Paradise, we talk about playing D&D. We're gonna get into some cool character questions today and just have a nice little chat. Welcome.
Welcome fucking indeed. It's great to have another Paradise episode. It's been probably about 2 months since the last one, I'm gonna be honest with you. But we've just been on the grind with the Boundless Shores, and great to be here. Great to not take up half your fucking screen. With my ugly mug, we can actually see the rest of these lovely faces.
Come on, Wes. You love the spotlight, bro.
Oh, I do. You don't expose me like that. Your character's dead. So today, talking about these lovely faces, today, as James said, we're going to be doing some character interviews. So me as the DM, I'm going to be shooting them a bunch of questions that they can answer in character, out of character, up character, down character, left, right character, A, B star character. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And, they can shoot me questions about the world, and, we can just get a good discussion going about, the goings on outside of actual play, where I believe, as I have my table of contents right here, we are entering into our 5th arc of the campaign. We can have a retrospect and take a look back and, see what's happened, see what's been, see what's up. Just have a good time with it, Have our drinks, drunkards, and then we have our dumbasses, and it'll be a fucking great time. Cheers to everyone.
Cheers.
I feel like we can start off really easy. And, I don't know.
Cheers,
we'll
boys.
start with James for this one, and then we'll just go, just through the player order from left, back to starting question, Just because we all have the player order on our screen. I'm not going to be able to give up that, but, whatever. So, my first question would be, I think I can ask 2 questions at once here. So, who is your character closest to in the party, and who in the party do they trust the least? We can start off with James, head left to right, and see what's up.
God, I gotta start.
Yes, sir. Put you on the spotlight. You did a great intro. Now into the question.
Trust the most. Or closest to.
Yeah, closest to and trust the least.
Right now, mostly, I don't feel like Tobin's made any like serious connections with anybody in the group yet, but with the events of last episode and the kind of emotional part with like telling Calduin who the bandits were, I feel like that, and Calduin like being so worried about Tobin in previous episodes, I feel like there's definitely an element of closeness there that I haven't seen so much with other characters with Tobin yet.
And how in touch with the rest of the party is, Calduin definitely shows that he worries about the group, and he cares about them. He's really adopted them as, family. It's all about family.
Dom Toretto, is that you?
Sorry, continue.
I guess probably trust Stryker the least, just because of how much he comes and goes and the circumstances with meeting him. He hasn't done anything to really earn Tobin's trust necessarily, but nothing so far since like the initial meeting to like necessarily warrant not trusting him. So just for lack of for him being like the character we've seen the least, other than like party member we've seen the least, other than maybe Knees, and probably say Striker.
Yeah, it's really good. I honestly, while I was thinking about these questions, just in my head, Striker never really came to mind. But yeah, as the newest addition to the group, and how, shaky his connection with you guys, like I definitely never really considered that. But that's a really good point. No, I like that. What about you, my friend Liam? Oh, Joyce interruption. Hi, Joyce.
There we go.
Wait. Give her one more hug from me.
Oh, Wes wants me to give you a hug.
This is
Thank
from
you,
me.
Wes!
Well, the first interruption,
I love Joyce. She's great.
I think if Beckett were here, he would definitely say like Calduin is his favorite and Orgoli is not.
Easily. Like we already know those questions, but I want to deep dive in the rest of your characters' minds and see what's up. But I think I can already kind of guess where Calduin's gonna go with that, or Liam is gonna go with that.
Yeah, so as for me, Calduin, um, like you said, like I've adopted the entire group as my family, so I feel really close to a lot of them. But the one I feel the closest to, just because of like, I don't know, it just seems how quick we hit it off was Beckett. I feel like I'm closest to Beckett. For the least, who I don't trust, that one's kind of a hard one because, again, like we said, I kind of feel close to everyone. It's like including Striker, but and like after the whole boat incident with the sword and everything else, definitely earned a lot more trust there. But I do have to say, Striker has to be the one I don't trust the most, just because of how much they come and go, and just seems like they're more of a wild card.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next person on the player order. I think you guys can actively figure out what order you guys are answering the questions in. You guys can have that up. I'll just have the questions up because I'm trying to switch between two apps and it's not working for me. It's a lot of micromanagement that I don't like prepping.
Do you want to go? Do you want to go next, Owen? Or
I just want to go in order. I feel like that would be so much easiest. But I mean, if Orgolan already has the answer, I would love to hear what Orgolan has to say.
I do also have to say, as for Knees, it's not even.
Oh yeah, I definitely wanted to prick your brain. I know we haven't seen a lot of Knees, and I know we definitely will. Like I have a whole arc planned with just Knees. But he's off doing his own thing because he can't really have a full-time job in the party because he's a Bloodhound trainee. And Calduin's a special case because he's more of a liaison where he already shows the talent and needs to get honed, while the rest of them were taught the talent, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like as for Knees, with the very little interaction of the group, it would have to be Tobin that he's the most close to, because Beckett just makes fun of him constantly.
Oh, yeah, I feel so bad for him.
Hasn't really communicated much with Orgol and Jonathan. Tobin's really the only person who's actually more or less stood up for him. And then it'd have to be Striker that he does. Well, Striker or Beckett, it's a bit. It's kind of equal there because Beckett just doesn't treat him the way he should, but Striker also did try to steal from him, so. Not great first impressions.
I also just want to reflect on, Dante isn't here to speak for himself, but I think it's really funny that Stryker is just stuck with your group just out of circumstance, even though the debt that he owes is to Neves, who's just completely fucked off for the time being.
Yep.
He's just sticking by because he has nothing better to do with his life, and this is just more interesting than stealing from random people in Aria. Like, and I just like I wanted to reflect on it because I just thought it was really funny. Just like if Dante, because I literally have a question in here. It's like why is their character sticking with the group? Why are they there? Why are they, sticking with these random bunch of fucking hoo-wahs? But Striker's there because he's bored, and I just think that's really funny. Anyways, Nate, have you thought of a good answer?
Yeah, so throughout my brief time here in the campaign, and this being my first like real deep dive into a campaign with a lot of people ever.
Love having you here.
It's definitely been a learning experience for me, learning right from wrong, um, in game and out of game. And yeah, learning how to DM. That's definitely something I gotta work on still, but I feel like I'm making good progress.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to have the next episode of Fendelver, and I was thinking about it, and I'll let you guys know. Just brief interruption. I was thinking about it, and I'll let you guys know if I need another week off of DMing just to get a couple of things prepared, and sorting out some life shit. And it was so nice just to be able to come here and not have to do vocal warm-ups in the shower.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to explore more of that because it's a bit hard on 5e the first time we played, and I know it's just a learning experience and it's just difficult to learn. So, but I'm excited to get back into the shoes of Kuaku.
Oh, yeah.
And I was watching a bit of that episode back. Oh, and it was so fucking funny that he's like, all right, who would like to start us off and introduce ourselves? And then Owen, my man, goes, and so I'm like, hey, me and Owen already discussed this. We're a dynamic duo. I'm just gonna take the fish out of water. And I was like, okay. My fucking goblin character. If you haven't seen the first episode of Minds of Fendelver, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more relaxed than our normal show, and I think the players and I definitely really appreciate it, just being able to go in and goof off and play these random characters and just try random shit because it's just more fun. And Nate is a really relaxed, rule of cool DM, I would say, and so he just getting away with shit, and I really appreciate it because we can come in a lot more relaxed, and we're not worried about our characters dying. If Kuaku goes, I'm like, oh well.
Next session, rocks fall, everyone dies.
No, and Kuaku is the glue that holds us together.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I enjoyed every one of our characters in that campaign too, and I was really enjoying your storytelling. Your orc voice. Oh, but that didn't. And I was like, yes. I loved it so much, dude. I thought it was fucking awesome. Straight up, if okay, imagine Boundless Shores as an animated show, and then as a special, we just have the Minds of Fendelver, but it's literally just the Muppets. And it's so fucking funny. I love it, man. It was so fucking funny.
Just go into like
Um,
one of the capital cities, you see one of those like transportable puppet shows there.
Oh yeah.
yes. You know
But
what? I might add that somewhere down the line. Wait till y'all forget it. I don't know. I want to slide that in somewhere where it's just a stand where it's the Minds of Fendelver like theater show or something like that.
I was just gonna say, and then there's gonna be a theater show of my Diablo campaign.
Yes, sir.
yes.
No, the Diablo campaign is the first movie ever invented. Charlie Anyways,
But to
Yonatan, who are you closest to in the group, and who do you trust the least? And Peter doesn't count. You can't say Peter.
let's go with Peter and Peter.
Peter and Peter. Yep. You don't trust him not to eat the food out of your bag. So
I don't
I see
trust
that.
him, but he's also my best friend. But to answer your question there, throughout my time in this campaign, I really think that Jonathan has gotten close with Orgolan.
I can see that. No, I really see that. Honestly, I like that silent connection between you guys. Is like, in this particular group, probably excluding Tobin, you guys seem like the most fish out of water people here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think literally, other than Tobin, our whole group seems like a fish out of water.
You know
Like,
what? I
why are we
honestly,
excluding Tobin?
Tobin is
What's
the
up?
most normal fucker among you, to be
Oh, yeah.
honest.
you're literally the most normal among us. Like,
Like, if
That's
fucking
why
Grim
Tobin
Reaper
really
showed
fucking-
up towards the Emperor's carriage, he'd be like, "Oh, it's time." Fuck.
Yeah. No, that's why our group is called Tobin Ream and Co.
But you know what? That's a great question. Let's brainstorm an actual good like group
No.
name, because
No.
come on, dude, like that happened. Like come on, Vox Machina, the Mighty Nine, Bell's Hells. Like we need a good group name.
Okay, Tobin Ream and Co. I tried to say something else, but it just didn't
And-
work. It's the best name.
Tobin Raymond Inc.
Wait, where have I heard this thing before?
Limited?
It's like, it seems so familiar.
Tobin Ream and the Heartbreakers. Their brand name.
Tobin Raymond and the Misfits.
Yeah. So I think Jonathan would be closest with Orgolan right now, and I have a thing planned, but I need to talk to Owen one-on-one for it.
Let's talk about this after the session, because
Yeah. And then the person I trust the least would probably be Beckett, because Beckett has had a freaking devil's sword talking to them for like
Yeah.
what is it like?
He literally bought like a scroll of protection.
Yeah.
Because of like the evil energy coming off this blade. Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead, James.
I'm on the same page. I said Striker, but then everybody said Striker. I was like, if I had to pick somebody, like, cause Striker, that's just out of circumstance, really. But if we're talking about like, just like in general, definitely, yeah. Beckett's doing some whack ass shit.
But yeah.
Beckett's doing some whack ass shit.
Yeah.
And, like, not all of you know what the potion does, but I'm pretty sure V's words were, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
There's also some flavor text that is not on that cue card.
But yeah, I probably trust Beckett the least. Obviously getting like my guy has seen some shit in his day
Oh yeah, my guy has lived a life, dude. And that's also I wanted to talk to you. I was watching back. I believe it was the Poison's Prize. That was the Poison's Prize is where y'all escaped the Shadow Silhouette, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was watching about the Poison Prize, and I was hearing your improv. I know um, tradesman, like exotic animal tradesman. I had a little bit of an idea with that I wanted to discuss with you later. Just bring that up to me because I will forget.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, go with like the Caldo and Beckett like closeness. I also feel like they're really close just because hey, I got a voice in my head, you're getting a voice in your head. Type
We're
thing.
all getting voices in our heads.
It's me, bitches. I'm the voice in your head. Yeah, Orgolin has also got a voice talking in his head, but one of his voice isn't evil.
Yeah.
Well,
Um.
that's another question. Like, I'm trying to think of good individual questions that I wanted to ask you guys. That's a great. I just thought of a great individual question that I just want Orgolin to answer eventually.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just like obviously like Jonathan has seen some shit in his time living on the streets, being like absolutely like dirt poor the longest time. But like this is on a whole other level with the frickin' devil sword and shit. And I just imagine him being like properly spooked. Like, him being an explorer and traveling vast different lands and stuff. He has seen some crazy shit in his lifetime. But this devil stuff is on a whole other level than that.
Oh
Even in the
yeah.
same league.
Oh, of course. Like you, as much as the druids the druids are really rooted in nature, but nature isn't evil. It's chaotic. But it's not evil. So any work with demons and demigods of darkness is on a different level that you just were never taught, because as much as they're really in tune with their lives and in with the earth, they're not really in tune with the outside world. Like, for a time, the tribe didn't even teach common, because Arnir, your mentor, who over the campaign, the last campaign, learned common with the group. You're literally Jonathan's mentor, Arnir, which is, I believe, I might have to go back and check my notes, but I believe Arnir was not with the group on Mount Anghor when it erupted.
Bitch.
He was back with the druids defending his home when he fell. But he was near the Varus trees, so something might happen, but we'll fucking see, I guess. Maybe.
Depends on whether we go to the Varus tree in this campaign or not.
You've already been to the Varus tree.
Oh, is that the Varus tree with the symbol and shit?
The
It's the
Varus
giant.
tree is the big tree in the middle of your village, and Varus is the person who spoke to you as the former chiefman of the village.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm pretty sure someone says, "Oh yeah," because Varus is a tree. Like Varus is technically the tree, but not the tree. Don't worry about it. Oh,
I've never seen that before.
that is so cool. I've never seen that before. What is that? Is that
Some
your?
sort of technical difficulties, I assume.
I think that's just his profile picture.
Nah,
I'm
I'm
pretty
still
sure
here.
this is profile.
Oh,
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
my
your
profile
profile
apologies
picture?
picture.
for the
That is
interruption.
so cool.
Yeah.
That looks awesome. Anyways, yeah. So, uh, Argolan and Beckett, huh? Yeah, fucking right. No, I love that. And ooh, my headphones are almost out. I should plug them in. I'll do it on the break.
Next question.
Argolan, what about you, buddy?
Oh,
I feel that Ergolan is kind of keeping to himself, but also he's still trying to figure out where the hell he's going to find the way to get home. And like I don't really feel like I've made connections with a lot of people, but I think right now I think Orgolan is kind of respecting Tobin the most, and right now Orgolan's kind of a little pissed at Calduin.
Oh, why'd you piss at Calduin?
Reason being, whenever we go into a dark fucking place, he fucking flashbangs me. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Just keep shoving the Pixar lamp in the face. Ah.
That's what he's doing. And it's like, why?
This is what happens every time Calduin slash bangs or go.
Yeah.
So is that your answer? You trust Calduin the least?
I think, yeah.
But I also would interject. What about your interactions with Beckett in the alleyway?
I feel that was just a little bump in the road, but
Yeah. So Orgolan's willing to forgive and forget, but we'll see how long Beckett can hold a grudge, kind of thing.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you mean, but Calduin needs a nuisance. His fucking flashbangs. I got you. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. What's a good follow-up question here?
And I also wanted to say someone other than Striker.
Yeah,
Because
that's fair.
I think everyone said Striker, so I just wanted to say someone.
Well, you'll be learning a bit more about him soon. Um, I'm planning out his arc as we speak. So, him and I want to give like eh, in the fourth arc was my character building backstory, blah blah blah. I called it Trials of the Adventurers or something like that, where I we covered up like at least half the group about like you know bit of backstory stuff to, but the other half of the group. So I want to give Orgolan, Striker, and Yonatan a little bit more. Orgolan, I for sure have written. I know exactly what's gonna happen. Striker and Yonatan, I'm still brewing up some details. Um, but yeah, Owen, you should be excited for your shit. Like it's gonna be cool, and it's not gonna be like a multi-arc thing like the Kane Sword. It's gonna be like an actual fucking. Hey, hint, hint. It's on the main plot line. Like your backstory stuff is written into the plot.
Okay.
Like they were all side quests. You were main quest, right?
Shit.
But that's why you're waiting a little bit because like shit has to happen first before your shit can go down. So that's why you know what I already have written a good question about Peter. Like as I said, I have a couple of individual questions um, for each of the group. and Peter was definitely one of them, and that's also part of the thing that I wanted to just discuss with you later, Nate, was stuff with Peter and your improv stuff. So I thought that was really good, and that got my mind thinking, and so I think we can fill in between the lines of a bit more of your past, right? Um, sorry, I was kind of derailed there. So talking about trust, um, what does your character think about Kay and the rest of the heralds that you've met, as well as the bloodhounds? Like Kay and the bloodhounds as a unit, but also Kay and the heralds as one unit. Um, I don't know if that's a spoiler, but whatever. That's very minute. You guys should have gotten that. But we'll start with Nate. Nate, what do you think of Kay and the Heralds, as well as what do you think of the Bloodhounds? Like, do you trust them? What are your thoughts behind working for them and and having multiple run-ins with them? Like that being Saphiri, the champion of Anghor, Gwen, the last knight of Palor, and Kay.
Um, you
Just
know,
Kay, 'cause you haven't learned his title yet. So
I think, I mean, they haven't really done anything for me to distrust them. Um, you know, I feel like I feel indebted to them just on the basis that they're giving me a living wage, so that I can
sometimes.
actually like afford food. And with Jonathan's backstory, I feel like he would be like really grateful to be able to make a living wage. But
Exactly, being a beggar on the streets of Blackwater, like I can definitely see how that would you know change his opinions. Yeah, continue.
at the same time, I do feel like something's not quite right, as if they have an ulterior motive for sending us out on these tasks, but I can't place my finger on it yet, just on the basis that I don't have much information. Nor does Jonathan really.
Yeah, that makes me as the writer super excited because like I haven't given you guys a lot of information.
It's mysterious without giving a lot away, and that's what I really like.
And and I'm definitely your group is going to be filled in a lot more. Um, but I really do enjoy that you guys are enjoying the mystery of it, not knowing much of why you guys are doing what you're doing. It seems really niche to you guys, but in the bigger picture, you guys have no idea what the bigger picture is. Where you guys, feel like one puzzle piece that doesn't know their place, but it's you know and that's what I'm really enjoying, just giving you little pieces and letting you guys try to fill in the rest of the big picture to figure out what's happening, but also letting it unfold naturally, like as a narrative, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I talk fucking way too much. Fucking uh or Golan, what about you? What do you think of Kay and the Heralds and the Bloodhounds? Kay and the Heralds and the Bloodhounds.
I, I right now I think Orgolan hasn't really been paying attention to them, and like I just think he's I think he's still in the getting to know where the hell he is still, and he's not he's not really catching on to most things he like other people are. as well as like I feel he is also kind of just goes with the flow of
Hmm. I think his monkish ways definitely show through there as, you know,
that.
the original mission of why you came to the Boundless Shores. Like, you being able to go with the flow and learn and train with this group of folk. Like, I definitely agree. Like, you definitely would have more of a neutral standpoint of the goings on of this realm because you're not accustomed. You're more accustomed to back home, right? I definitely agree with you. Sorry, continue. I wanted to interject there and expand on that a little bit.
And also, I feel like Argolin kind of respects what the Bloodhounds are, as well as
As
respects,
he fucking should.
like, I think he just respects them.
Yes, sir. No, I love that night. Like Orgolan's growing up and being in the monastery. Like like monastery life and life in the Bloodhounds is not very dissimilar. Like it's I can definitely see how Orgolan really respects the Bloodhounds and what they do and even if like, Owen knows a bit of how the Bloodhounds came to be, and Orgolan knows how they operate, and so I think that as a unit, you definitely have built that respect of where they came from and how they are and who runs it, and So you've answered the Bloodhounds. What do you think of Kay and the other heralds?
I I feel like Argolin doesn't really know much about the heralds, and like him just learning of these three that are that he has no clue who they are. But me personally thinking it's fucking badass that they're back.
Fucking right. You like the fact like I thought about because it's a continuation of the old campaign. Like I really wanted to bring a couple of good faces back, and I wanted to make it plausible, and this is the best way I can make it plausible, as well as adding new epic NPCs like Fifiri, who shoutouts to my boy Nate, legend, other Nate.
Other
Shoutouts to my boy Nate, absolute fucking legend. He was, I shit you not. He practiced like I let him know well in advance, like when his part was gonna come in because we were talking about it. But this man practiced the voice for at least an hour to 2 hours every day for 2 weeks to get the voice right because he was so anxious about it. And this man delivered, bro. I listened back to his part and I was like, this is bone chilling. This is so badass. And like, oh my god, no, it was so cool. And I loved being able to, and I definitely want to
it was fucking
do it
sick.
more. But I mean, Nate's been the only willing person thus far to do it. But I definitely want to bring that in a lot more, and have a couple of my other friends come in and be epic NPCs for you guys and be able to act that out separately from me just doing all the voices. Because I thought it was so fresh, and I thought it was so cool just to have this fucking my buddy come in as this badass wolf guy who just comes in for 20 minutes and gives you a job and just dips, right? It was so cool, right? And having Gwen and Kay be able to come back. Gwen, one of the only people who hasn't continued in this play group from the last session, but having his character be able to come back is really cool. So I definitely agree. James, what about you? What are your thoughts about uh, Kay, the Herald of the Bloodhounds?
So with Tobin, he's more or less gotten a lot from each of the heralds even this early. First of all, Egwene was this cool knight they met in the beginning when Tobin was aspiring to be a knight at this point. That kind of like saved our asses and brought us to this new land with some sort of magic that Tobin really didn't understand at that point. And then he also spoke on his behalf to Tyrael to help him get his sword back. So Gwaine already did that much for him. Kay has offered Tobin a chance to prove himself outside of the ranks of what we learned to be like a corrupt bunch of knights working for a basically evil queen. So Kay's allowing him to like, go out and like show his worth and give him a chance to like show that he's not just some kid. And Safiri, the job he gave us was to get a very dangerous drug off the street that could be potentially fatal to a lot of people, and he was able to let us help with that mission. And Tobin, as good of a person as he is, really respects that about him. So, uh, as new as he is to the idea of these heralds, he's not. He definitely has not necessarily like blind trust, but he definitely has good feelings towards all three of them in different ways. Um, the Bloodhounds are very intimidating and kind of awesome in like the literal sense of the word awesome to Tobin because of how it's like this cool organized group of like almost like the same idea as knights in a way, which is something that he'd been looking to get into for so long. That there's, although he doesn't necessarily trust the Bloodhounds, he definitely has respect and for them. I think your
That's
new character.
awesome.
Oh, there.
Yeah, I realize that. No, that's fucking awesome. I'm on my fourth drink. I'm getting there. I started off with Nate, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Calduin, what about you? You've had a lot more experience with the Bloodhounds than they have. I haven't really discussed with you what happened then, but like, you can fill in the blanks. You know most of the cast that you trained with, the trainee Bloodhounds. What do you think of Kay and the group as well as the Heralds?
With K, um, I feel like it would be the same as when he was back in Veilbridge. When I was back in Veilbridge, um, training with Grandmaster Nazira, um, seen as like the head mentor, being able to learn and grow in my ability. And with the Bloodhounds, it's like another family, being able to be with people who practice some of the same abilities that I have, and just being able to learn and grow together. Um, as for the Heralds with Gwaine, um, not too happy being taken from his home forcefully. uh, of course, he did try to kill him at first, but that's because he was trying to listen to the voice in his head.
Mm-hmm.
um, so it's starting to sort of respect Wayne, but still on the fence about him. And then, like Tobin, for respect of protecting the the city and getting the drugs off the street, being able to make sure everyone is safe, has a lost respect for name.
Safiri.
Thank you. Yeah, Safiri, um, and just knowing that they just want to protect everybody, and Calduin feels the same. He just wants to protect the people that are there. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Fuck, boys. We're getting to 8:30 here. I just want to call a quick break, take a bio break, go take a toke. But I just want to say before we end off, like, oh my god, my heart is absolutely breaking right now hearing you guys talking about your characters and talking about the content that I'm bringing towards you guys and how passionate all of you sound, not only about your characters but about the world, and it breaks my heart, man. I'm not gonna divulge, but I've been having a rough month. And just being able to come here every Tuesday and having a great group who's invested and who is just it breaks my heart, man. I love it so much. Like, it breaks my heart in a good way. Like the waterworks are close to the show, man. I love y'all. And I love this group, and I love being able to come here every single Tuesday and be able to record for the viewers and record not just for fucking ourselves, man. Like, I love it. I love it so much. And so we'll catch you after this break. Um, Let me tear my heart open and then go take a toke. You know how it is.
Back to?
This is still drunkards and dumbass and still pair of dice.
I hope it hasn't changed.
Yeah, it hasn't. I just had to make sure everybody knew that.
Of course, catching us back up to speed. Yeah. Well, we've gotten some great questions so far, some really in-depth questions. I first wanted to just quick fire around, just talk about some surface level shit, and then I thought it would be really cool to open up if you guys had any, because everyone here right now in the chat has either DM'd or plan on DMing, and or plan on improving their DM skills. I would like to open up a little bit of so, you guys can quick fire send some questions my way and I can answer them from the point of the DM, or if you have any Boundless Shores questions, I can answer them, provided no spoilers. And I just thought that would be really cool if you guys, I'll give you guys a chance to think it over, and we'll do just some surface level shit to just get us back in the group. So I thought it'd be really cool and just take a bit of a step back and just reflect on, if your character wasn't an adventurer and they weren't out what they're doing right now with the group, what would they be doing? What kind of job would they be doing if they weren't adventuring with Tobin Raymond and the Misfits? We'll start it off with Liam, I guess.
I would probably still be back at the tribe, just protecting them, being as their bodyguard, going from place to place, making sure everything's okay in the Ashen Sea.
Yeah, what about you, Nate?
Oh, well, he'd probably be doing woodworking in Blackwater because, there's a port in Blackwater, if I'm not mistaken, and Blackwater, they definitely need some, they definitely need upkeep with some repairs here and there. So I feel like if Jonathan wasn't adventuring, he'd definitely be like a carpenter or like general repairman.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think I can definitely see that. That's really wholesome. What about you, Owen? I hope that's in the right order.
I feel Orgolan would probably either be back home and still training in the temple, or probably still, if he's like, before finding this group, I think he'd still be wondering how the fuck do I get home, and still be looking for something.
Yeah. Yeah. James, I feel like your answer is pretty obvious, but go for it.
Um, so for context, so is this like if we never went on that first mission sort of thing?
I think you can answer that however you wish, to be honest with you. Um, you can do it, you know, pre big events in the backstory. It could be pre meeting the group. I think you can just take that answer into interpretation about however you want to answer it. Because
Okay.
Liam took it as a note of um, who he'd be while he was with the Valdoon, but also, you know, if we took it into consideration with before the Arcane Purge, I feel like his only other answer would have been death, right? So you can just choose it however you wish, to be honest with you, if you've never taken the mission, or if the mission went successfully and you never continued with the group. I
Yeah.
you can it's up to you, my brother.
So you have
Well,
chosen death.
Yep.
Basically.
um, if I hadn't gone on the mission, or I guess I'll go. So if the mission, uh, there's a couple different answers. Like the most basic answer is I'd still be working as a blacksmith with my father. But if the mission had gone well and it was like what it was supposed to be, I'd probably be a trainee in the Queen's Knights. Or if so, again, if it was before the mission and the mission just didn't happen, I'd probably still be blacksmithing, but still attempting to become a knight.
Muted.
I forgot how to type my password in.
Mm,
So let's talk about your lineage for a little bit. How close was your character with your parents and with your brothers and sisters, if you had any? Like, what was family life at home before shit got real?
who are we? Are we? This is still
I
going
think we
into
can
like.
start with Orgolan.
Okay.
Good old Owen. How your mom, your dad, and your brother? How was your relationship with them? I know your brother and you were pretty competitive, but how was your relationship with your parents?
I feel like with my brother, we were we were kind of at each other's throats when it came to training, but also but also we were like the best of friends. Like you could
Hmm.
not separate us.
Yeah.
And with my parents, like my dad being the one to train us, like it was kind of like why is he going so like why is he going harder on me and my brother rather than the rest of the class? But then it was more of a he wants us to actually be good, or he wants us to be the best version of ourselves in said um, atmosphere. And then with my mom, it was more of a I. It was more of a what's the word? Um, it was more of us not really spending time together because I was either out with my brother or training with my dad, and like we never really spent time together. With her being in her shop all the time with my sister, and then with that whole stuff, but I I feel like we're kind of the typical family, like loving and other stuff as well. So yeah,
Muted.
Muted.
You bastards. What about you, James? How was family life for Tobin?
Tobin is very close with his father. He learned everything he knows about blacksmithing, and even his use of the sword was learned from his father and passed down onto Tobin. Just after shop hours were done, just going out because he knew how badly Tobin wanted to be a knight. He would help him train his swordsmanship and helped him build his sword, which was a very close bonding experience. So they are definitely very close. He doesn't know his mother, although his father doesn't speak about her much. He does say that Tobin has her eyes, and that's about all he knows about that. He was close with his grandfather before um, he died in this second arcane purge, or I don't know actually, something like that. Okay.
He was a knight during the Arcane Purge and lived to be able to see
Yeah,
you as a young boy, but
that's what I
you
meant. Yeah.
really only had the experience with him up to the age of, 4 or 5. So you have very, very brief memories of him, but very fond memories, and that's where Tobin really drew the desire to become a knight because and known as Sir Riamond, his grandfather was a very famous knight during those times. But you know, Sir Riamond also had a few dark secrets um, that were given leniency during the time that hasn't truly been revealed. Um, but Sir Riamond was very valued in the court of King Scarrow during the time of the Second Purge. Um, I guess we'll go with Calduin.
So for me, Asheratis, they're all big about family. Every tribe is practically one big family, blood related or not. When it comes to my parents, I was very close with them, although they definitely weren't happy about how I handled certain situations. I was a very reckless kid, and they definitely um, were a bit worried when I decided to go down the path of Blood Hunter, but of course, being my parents, they were also very supportive of me. As for Knees, uh, Knees didn't get along with his family very well. He was, um, he always felt like he was being left behind. He didn't, uh, he felt like he couldn't compare to his brothers and sisters with them being so good with magic and him not being able to figure out what was wrong. The only person he was really close to was his grandfather, who gave him the magic quill that he uses to take down his notes.
Yeah, I know that's great. And so that probably explains why Knees and Mr. Kiriki's interactions are always so awkward, is because they were never really that close. He always felt much more behind them on that scale. Even though Knees has definitely got what it takes to be on the same level, it just took him a lot more time to really hone his abilities. Completely agree. Yeah. What about Yonatan? What was home like life? With your mentor Arnir and your parents, and I'm not sure if you have any siblings, but how was home like life? Life like.
There you go. My family life, Jonathan's family life was, pretty decent. You know, they loved each, the family loved each other very much, and Jonathan had as much love for his, as much love and care for his mentors as, he loves them as if they were his family, like his home away from home, if you will. And, part of, and that deep bond with his family and his mentors and fellow mentees, or I guess other co-students. Um, the deep bond with them is why Jonathan was so traumatized by his whole village getting wiped out, so he intentionally wiped his own memory because
Yeah.
he knew he couldn't live with the guilt of being the one of few, if not the only survivor of his
And
entire druid clan, basically.
compartmentalization is a very real thing, and which is amazing that we get to explore it in our D&D worlds in a very fake setting. But to some people, compartmentalization is a very real experience where, uh, you know, they intentionally shut memories out of their lives and out of their memories, a lot like Yonatan has, because of the traumatic experiences they've experienced, right?
Yeah,
And so it's amazing that we get to experience that in a fake setting, but it is a very real thing, and I love that we can draw from real experiences, shitty or not, because I could definitely say personally I do experience that a lot. Like, we're DM'd on a field trip because I didn't want to take another break, so we're on DM screen mobile. But yeah, no, that is a really fantastic answer, and I'm not sure if you had any more, Nate. But if you do, go on. But we can move on to the next person if you were finished. I'm not sure.
yeah, no, I'm finished.
Yeah. All right, next person.
We've gone through all of them because we
Oh
start
wow.
with our Golan.
Oh wow. That's fantastic. Let me. Well, have you guys thought of any good quick fire DM questions that you guys can ask me?
Um, not particularly. Like,
All right. Well, I can move on to the next question. Just keep that in the back of your mind if you guys think of any good DMs questions that you can ask me as a, quote unquote seasoned DM to all of you who are newer DMs. always here to answer questions, and it would be good for the viewers to be able to listen in if they want to partake in DMing. Like, if you guys have any good questions about world building or storytelling or you know improv or any of the such, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, so we can move on to the next question. Just let you guys soak on that a little bit. Is for I believe all of you at least, probably except for Yodaton. Um, for those of you who haven't been outside their home continent, what's it like? Um, exploring the world and seeing so many different places and temperatures and tropics and all that fun jazz. Like, what's it like? Like, I know Tobin and Calduin have never been outside Belbridge before, let alone been on a boat. So, what's it like exploring jungles and snowy mountains and swampy villages on stilts? Like, what's it like? We can start off. You know what? That's a great. Let's start off with Tobin and like, what's it like exploring the world?
The the world is very odd. Coming from Veil Bridge, a continent that is completely purged out magic, and almost immediately going to Blackmere, like one of the magic capitals of the world, was a very, very odd transition for Tobin that he handled surprisingly well, slowly realizing that he may have some sort of magic, especially being drawn to the stone in some way he can't really explain, and to
Which
begin
is
with, and then
awesome.
also stuff after that started to realize, maybe he has some sort of connection to magic. So seeing it, he's been very observant and asking lots of questions to people like Kirki because of how weird it is. So it was a huge adjustment, plus the curiosity of Lone, especially of like, a teenage boy. Um, that it's been, yeah, as it has been weird, it's also been very, very interesting. Um, when it comes to seeing places like Blackwater with the and going through, and then New Anghor, where we went up through the jungles and the ice, all as different as that was, it didn't hit him as much just because of how determined he was to complete those trials. He was a little bit distracted and not paying as much attention. The like, I'm sure jungle heat is more humid than like desert heat, but it's still heat, so it just kind of, it was different, but it was almost like home, but not in a way that he noticed so much just because of how focused he was on trying to get his thing back. The with boats and stuff like that, that was that didn't bother him as much as like Calduin, because Calduin has this thing with water, but also just like Tobin was just lucky enough to not really experience that seasickness. So it was just kind of cool to see like just vast oceans, because living on Bridge, he's seen that, but now he's also beginning to see what's beyond those oceans too. So it's just kind of like more for him to take in, which is cool as much as it is overwhelming.
Hmm. Yeah. What about you, Liam? What's it like exploring the world?
Well, coming from the desert, it's definitely a big change of pace because, like, from seeing practically the same colors day in, day out and living underneath the sand, it's amazing seeing a world full of color and different temperatures and everything else, although could do with a lot less water. um, but it's amazing going like through all these different areas and just experiencing new places and it's like sure getting homesick from the desert, but just it's like I said, amazing just going through this world, seeing through new eyes, and sorry, my brain just shut off.
Happens to the best of us.
And I lost my train of thought.
We're
seeing the
going
world
off
through new
the
eyes.
rails on a crazy train.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's just being like it was a little disorienting at first, being thrown out of the world, thrown out of like your home place just immediately, without warning. But just seeing all these places and knowing that there's areas that do accept you for the person you are and accept you for um, the arts or so you take for magic and everything else. It's a great refresher not having to stress about who's going to be coming for you.
Yeah, no, completely agreed. Um, Nate, what about you, my man?
Um, yeah, um, being an explorer and traveling across different lands, just search of a purpose. Um, I think that was his main drive for just going to places was to just find his purpose and find his way and find another home after his first home got completely demolished. Um, but now that he actually has like nothing can replace family, obviously, but like he's found like the closest alternative to a family. He's in a solid group with a lot of solid people, and now that he actually has like that a group that he can mostly trust and put trust and faith into, as well as love. He's taking in a lot more things less at face value, not taking things for granted, like really truly taking in his surroundings and appreciating them for what they are.
Hmm. Oh yeah, and especially as someone who's been in tune with nature and exotic plants and all that jazz. Like forests and at different climates don't really mean much to you, but also your time in Blackwater has really shaped your mind, and you've been the poorest of the poor, and you've had to live out on the streets in the dewy ass rain and on the shitty fucking sidewalks, and so it really makes you appreciate the places that you do visit. No, I completely agree. Yeah. Whatever you were going is probably the best example of a fish out of water. What's it like? What's it like not only exploring out of your home continent, but out of your home realm, and like what's it like exploring the boundless shores?
Well, like at first going from the cool, like colder temperature of Shadow Guard to the like sweltering Veil Bridge or wherever did we start in Veil Bridge?
Yep.
Yeah, so like going from like the cool Shadow Guard to like Veil Bridge, which is like in the middle of a desert and it's sweltering hot, like was just the weirdest experience for me. Like I had to like he had to like kind of like where did this heat come from? What is this stuff? Like and then exploring the rest of the world and it's kind of eye opener for him being that being that like like Erlen has only known like the fort that he grew up on, as well as like the rocky areas around the around his home, and exploring like these forests, like the the magic swamp place, like the desert, and now and like him on like and us going from island to island. It's a whole new experience for him that he's still wrapping his head around. Like what's happening. Like he's still trying to figure out. He's still trying to figure out what the world has for him
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's been a it was definitely a warm welcome for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A warm welcome, definitely, indeed. That's fucking that. You fucker. Um. Yeah, and especially from Orgolan coming from a monobiomatic realm, like one biome realm, like we going to the boundless shores and seeing how different every corner of the the realm is. You went far up north and it's fucking freezing. You went far south and it's a jungle, and you went east and it's a sand, and you went west and it's a swamp. Like it's like it'd definitely be a very eye-opening experience coming from a monobiomatic realm to a multiple biome realm, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this will be a fun one. This is kind of like a bit of a thinker, but what are your characters' aspirations? Like, what are they aspiring to? And I think I can also at this point ask two questions at once. A, why is your character sticking with this group of ragtags? Why have you guys stayed together for so long after um you guys got together out of circumstance? You guys were hired on the same job, and then you picked up some random guy because he was told that it was his destiny, and you guys have just stuck together. Why is your character sticking with the group, and what are they aspiring to, and like what are their goals? um I feel like we can start off with Tobin here.
Yeah, I can take this. Um, Tobin's main aspiration from the beginning and still to this point is to just prove himself, not only to the world and to these people he's been traveling with, but to himself, that he can do this and that he can be as great as he sees himself being when he was a kid, thinking about knighthood, even without that being necessarily at least not a close reality right now. So it's kind of proving himself to everybody, anybody and everybody, really. Um, and he's stuck with the group because as much as he puts on this big, hey, I'm this tough guy, I can prove myself, I'll take the lead. He's in a strange place, and he's probably honestly a little scared to do it on his own. As much as he puts on this macho man, I'm gonna prove myself and I can do it. These are the people who are helping him do so, and he, uh, being so young and so unaware of all the stuff outside of Bridge, is scared to do it on himself. Plus, with especially with this group being hired on by Kay, and what I was saying earlier about Kay giving him a chance to prove himself as well.
Yeah, that is fantastic. No, he as a young kid would definitely stick by this group of misfits. Like, I Tobin definitely feels like a fish out of water in this place, and as much as he wants to prove himself, I can definitely see how he's scared to take the first step in this group of fucking weirdos. As much as every single place that he's gone to has been weird, he's stuck with the weirdest group, so it's just kind of nullified it out, and it's you know not everywhere is weird because he's got this group of weirdos with him that help him along the way and help him get out of his comfort zone and help him really find the leader that he truly is. Like that's fantastic, man. What about Calduin, man? Why are you sticking with the group, and how, like, what is Calduin's aspirations?
Well,
Not
he's got.
aspersions, aspirations.
I've got two aspirations right now. One is more or less fueled by hatred for the entire Skaro bloodline and trying to end their reign of terror and hopefully free Veilbridge from being uh, under the control of fear of having to hide who they really are and hopefully ending um, these arcane purges that happens. And my second aspiration is trying to repay my debt to the person who basically made it possible for me to continue this. As for
Mm.
sticking with the group, he's found his new family. He's been by himself for years, and he's found people that he can and love and protect, and wants to make sure that they get to live their life, and just wants to and so he's just got to be there with them through thick and thin.
And that's part of the reason why maybe repaying that debt might be a lot more bitter than it might first seem, as much as Cavalis gave you that chance to come back. The debt might be more pricey than you first intended. And that's a scary thought behind Calduin, is that, you know, as much as he's been given the chance, payment has to come soon. And as mysterious as Cavalis has been, he truly, like, will never understand Cavalis' motive, especially with what demigod he is. Is that, like, he won't know until it's too late. No, that's really great. What about you, Jonathan? Do we need a refresher on the original question?
Oh yeah, I'm
See,
so sorry. I'm high as a kite right now.
Oh yeah, no, I completely feel you. We were talking for so long, I completely forgot what question I was actually asking. Would be, what's it like, seeing the world, as well as why is your character sticking with this group?
Okay. My character is just sticking to the group. Um, One out of just sheer boredom and nothing to do really, and just like he sees the group as his his only family of real significance that he has left. So he's just sticking to the group just to be loyal to what he sees as his plan. Um, I think the world is amazing. Like it's well established.
Hold on, don't gas me up. What does Jonathan think about exploring the world?
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
okay.
you can gas me up any time, but this question here, what is Jonathan thinking? As much of time as you spent in the Scar Forest and in Blackwater, as well as in New Angkor.
You know, um, Jonathan, Jonathan, like for Jonathan, the world is his oyster. Um, there's a lot of variety, especially places as closely packed as these places are. Like vastly, you could take like a 10-kilometer walk over any direction, and it's a vast difference on what cultures, religions, style of buildings, whatever that may be. And, where good exists, evil will always be there to shadow it, and vice versa.
Of course. And Owen, have you answered this question?
Variety is the spice of life.
Oh, exactly. No, I don't think Owen has answered this. So why is a character sticking with the group, and what's it? No, you have answered this question. What's it like exploring the world?
He
Yeah,
did.
we've already answered what's it like exploring the world, but
So what was the other? Oh, aspirations.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Oh my God. The
Aspirations.
viewers are kicking their ass right now because Liam's already put the fucking question that we're talking about on the bottom of the screen. And so they're kicking their ass right now, going, Wes is a fucking idiot. How can he not remember his own goddamn question? And if you were that person, comment just like a fucking angry face below, because I'm definitely, after this episode's being uploaded, I'm kicking my own ass. I'm commenting an angry face.
I am too.
And then there's just
I
me
just think so.
enabling the chaos, considering I know you said the wrong question, but I didn't say anything.
Well, sometimes, Liam, I like to think you just like seeing me suffer. All right. So, why is Orgolan sticking with the group, and what is his aspirations?
I feel the reason Orgulin is sticking with the group is he also feels like these guys have become like family to him, as well as like these are basically the only people he knows of, and also with like the aspiration one, I I feel like he Ergolin wants to, well, obviously find a way home, but also um, being one part of my backstory that we haven't even touched on yet. He wants to. He's like, okay, maybe since I have gone and disappeared from my home ground, maybe my sister did as well. So maybe I can go and find her in this, which that's a huge bit of my back. That's a bit of my backstory that I have. This is the first time I'm revealing that. I think
Coming soon to home video and VHS. No, I'm really excited to explore your backstory, dude. Like, that's a lot of fun finding your sister and finding a way home. I think you might find that home somehow finds you, but I think that's really intriguing, and I really am going to enjoy playing with that a lot as the writer, and I'm just I think it's going to be a lot of fun for you to really bring the Orgolan out of the Owen, and I it's going to be really fun, and I'm super excited. I have one more question because we're getting pretty late into the session. But I'm just enjoying talking to my lads, honestly. Like, I love these guys, and I just like this is literally what we do pre and post session is we just talk and we have a good time. But looking forward, how does your character feel about going to the festival? And how do they feel about the Valdoon Raider twist? I think because I'm most excited for Liam, we'll leave that towards the end, and I'll start off with Nate here. How do you feel about the festival, and how do you feel about the Valdoon Raider twist?
I think the festival is going to be really fun. Especially, I feel like me and Strick are gonna have a blast cheating at the carnival. This is definitely going to be a fun and interesting arc, no matter how well or how badly it goes. In terms of like characters succeeding and failing on their checks and shit.
And we'll see how that goes. How does Yonatan feel about the Valdoon twist?
Oh, the Valdoon twist. Like, oh my gosh, like he's just like feeling like absolute dread and super fucking guilty about murdering some of Calduin's people when he knows what it's like when your whole group just gets wiped out in a single blow.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's rocking him right now. Not
Yeah.
maybe not as much as Calduin is rocked, but
Oh, of course,
the
yeah.
empathy is there. Like it is there, and it is there. Like a freaking like strong like a bull, man.
What about you, Orgolan? How do you feel about going to the festival? As your home realm hasn't really had a lot of festivals, to be honest with you. No, they're not really a festive bunch. They're very rooted in tradition. Going to this festival, celebrating the life and the creation of the Royal Academy and the celebration of the arcane arts is. How do you feel about that, as well as the Valdoon twist, as you've been there every step of the way while we experienced Calduin's dread as much as he hasn't let it out that much. Especially about being back home and the Oshirati artifacts and all that. How does Orgolan feel?
I I I think with the whole festival thing, he he feels kind of honored to get invited to something he thinks is like a more prestigious event rather than like what it probably is going to be like a fair that like Nate just talked about. And with, with the whole Raiders thing, I I think he he feels silly that he killed some of Chaldewan's people, but also in the back of his mind, he kind of feels kind he kind of is like that's what you get for the flashbangs,
Hmm.
and, and just a little bit of smite, but also he does kind of feel for Calderin losing his people in that way.
Mhm. Well, I mean, and I think Orgolan can definitely relate on that level to losing your brother during that training exercise.
Yeah.
Is that like, as much pain as you felt losing him, imagine that on a whole, not even family, but a whole towns wise. Imagine Fort Vragos entirely being wiped out, how much anguish Orgolan would feel. Or Fort Obelisk, that's what it's called. My bad.
Yeah.
Fort
And
Obelisk. You're right. My bad. It's Count Vragos and Fort Obelisk. Um, James, what about you, my brother? Aspirate. What question are we on?
What do you think about the festival, and how do you feel about the Valdoon twist?
That's why he holds a brain cell.
um, First of all, as James, I'm very excited for this arc. This arc's gonna be sick. Yes, please. But so Tobin, um, isn't quite sure how to feel yet because we were given these tickets by Mr. O, who Tobin
Very crucial detail.
does not like who did not seem very or I guess seemed rather suspicious to Tobin and not trustworthy. So although the festival as a whole, I don't think he's worried that the festival is going to be a trap or anything like that. He is still skeptical of the fact that these golden tickets we got were given to him by Mr. O, and he wants us there for a reason, which is somewhat concerning. Um, in regards of the Valden, Valdenoid, I don't know which one's the plural.
Baldoon.
Muted.
So Valdoon is plural. So the
Okay.
Valdoon is the people as a whole.
Mhm.
Valdoonoid is the people as an individual.
Okay.
So, like, I would be Valdoonoid, but we would be the Valdoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with the Raiders, especially being the one to discover it and have to break the news to Calduin, there is definitely an exceptional amount of sorrow that Calduin had to kill his people, especially unknowingly. He definitely feels bad about towards Calduin for that. Um, Going from like a maybe like a non-biased standpoint, he'd be like, these were raiders. They were attacking uh, seemingly innocent people. They needed to be stopped. Um, like he didn't even necessarily want to kill them as violently as he did. He just got his sword back, and with it being so powerful, he accidentally literally chopped the first guy in half. Um, but uh, so like just from a Raider standpoint, it's like it's good that they were beaten and not able to like hurt these people, but especially with these Valdoon, he's also very curious about who these are, why Calduin doesn't know of them, why they're here and not in Veilbridge when that's where we thought they all were, as far as Tobin's aware. So it raises a lot of interesting questions, but it definitely there's still a lot of that heartache towards Calduin and how he would feel about that. There's a lot of aspects.
And the question of the hour: how does Calduin feel? If it's too much, don't answer.
Just okay. So right now, he's not thinking about the festival. He does not care. The only thing on his mind right now is this Valdoon ambush that had happened. He is currently he has two emotions. Mm, no, it's a flurry of emotions, really. He is angry. He is he is upset, and he is.
Ashamed?
Thank you, because he feels like he's back to when he tried he back when the ambush happened on his tribe, and he was not able to protect his tribe. And after all these years of trying to protect these Valdoon in Veilbridge and them dying to his hand, he feels so much shame and guilt for killing um basically his own kind, but he is also feeling intense anger and hatred because he feels deep down that this is still the Scarrow family's fault.
Mm. And many truths will be revealed in time. But, ah, no DMs questions from y'all?
Go,
World building?
go
Ooh.
one, because I'm working on it myself. How do you gauge the right stat blocks for homebrewing your own creatures?
Um, I think it comes down to three different pillars for me. Is I like to go to the monster manuals and view similar enemies to the threat range that I'm looking for, but as well as the unfortunate answer is just Nate. Can you mute? That's really distraction. I apologize.
Oh, sorry. I thought
Sorry.
it was
Yeah, sorry, that's really distracting, brother. But I think it comes down to a lot of guesswork and trial and error. Is that it's still taking me a little bit to gauge how powerful you guys are in comparison to the monsters that I'm writing, because a lot of the monsters that I'm writing are homebrewed. But it just like I think the best course of action would just be to look at similar monsters from the monster manual and seeing their threat
wow.
level. Um, but it just takes a little bit of guesswork and trial and error of your first few combats of DMing are not going to be as great as your ninth or 10th, right? But that's probably my best answer.
Um,
You guys can you so when it comes to DM's question, you guys can ask me questions about DMing or to my the best of my abilities, without spoiler territory on like the actual Boundless Shores world building.
Okay. I have a question. So, when you're going off a pre-established like module like Lost Mines of Endelver, do you just try to do it in a section, like say for like we're doing the cave encounter right now? Last we left off. Like on those like text blocks describing the world in the book. Like, do you just try to like just picture just picture what you want to say in your mind, and then just like take the text block and then put it in your own words while being descriptive and stuff?
I think that can come with your own comfortability. Is that pre-written campaigns are really great to run because it does half the thinking for you. You don't have to come up with the whole world. You just have to you just have to really um, be able to take um, those text blocks and really fill in the bridges of A and B, but how do you get from A to B? That's where you can really expand your own DMing style, and you can really push your own ideas. Is like when it comes to D&D modules, is that like the words as written aren't words written in stone. You can change ideas, and if the campaign goes in a completely opposite way, but you still want to guide it back to the module, like you just the great but also the negative thing about pre-written campaigns is that you have to fill in those gaps. You have to fill in those bridges, and you have to be able to encapsulate your players. But because the module does half your work, um you can really focus on that improv. You can really focus on interacting with your players and expanding the world without continuing on with the story, right? It just, I feel it out, my man. Like, as much as the text blocks define Minds of Feldelver, it doesn't define your edition of Minds of Fendelvers, because there's been so many different campaigns run in the Minds of Fendelver, and I don't think any of those campaigns have ever been the same, ever. But with that, we have been running well over run time. We'll get James to lead us out here.
Alrighty. Thank you for joining us for our third episode of Pair of Dice. Check out our main series, the Boundless Shores. Check out the campaign we're talking about, the Mines of Fandelver, which is one of the misadventures of the drunkards and dumbasses, run by Nate here as the DM. And check out the Diablo campaign that we did earlier, where Owen DM'd. We do lots of things. We're now available on Spotify, so check us out. And if you're coming from Spotify, or no, we're not uploading this to Spotify yet. But if this does get uploaded to Spotify later, check out YouTube.
And vice versa.
I already did the vice versa.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, thanks for joining us. Have a good night, or morning, or afternoon.
Exactly. Have a great fucking day. Thank you for joining us.
Peace.
Peace.
Whoop, 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 whoop.